Hey, James here. Now, I'm really lucky because I've been working in online audio for like the last 15 years, get sent lots of stuff by lots of different manufacturers, and Rode have always been really kind to us. They've always sent us their latest and greatest stuff. So when this landed on my desk the other day, I was kind of curious to know what it is. You know, we've got a nice black kind of wrapped box with a gold seal on the front, and there's a letter attached to it as well. So let's open it up and find out what's inside, shall we? So here we go. This is a little bit of a teaser because alongside the box, I actually got this magazine which tells me all about their new headphones, which are the NTH-100s. Now, Rode have been developing audio products for a long time, so I've kind of got a high expectation when it comes to their first ever pair of headphones. Bear in mind, these guys have been developing things like microphones, like the Rodecaster Pro, and various other tools and pieces of equipment which are used for audio and video. And indeed, we use them for a lot of our audio and video workflows on a day-to-day basis. For example, right now, the wireless microphone pack that I'm speaking to you from is made by Rode. They've also included a letter, which is very nice of them. Well, what does this letter say? It says, "Dear Mr. Mulvaney." I'm joking, it's not addressed to me directly. It just says, "Greetings from Rode." And then it goes on to say, you know, for the past 30 years, we've been working a lot, developing a range of products which are catering to the audio and video industries. And they're delighted to include this pair of headphones, the NTH-100. They're designed for professional over-ear use, and they've been developed from the ground up to deliver exceptional results. So basically, they're saying these headphones are designed to be professional level. Now, I've been using these headphones probably for as long as I've been working in and around radio stations and podcasts, going back since like the late 2000s. So, and indeed, these have been around for a lot longer before then as well. This is the Beyerdynamic DT 770 Pros. Now, I love these headphones. You can wear them all day long. They're super comfortable. Even though they're not noise cancelling, they're really, really good at rejecting what's going on. So once you've kind of got these headphones on, you're not really kind of aware of what's going on around you, which is great if you really want to focus in on audio editing or if you're broadcasting live. They also sound great and they're used a lot in industry. So these are really considered industry standard headphones for radio, for music production, for podcasting. You'll see these used a lot in studios. So I'm kind of curious to see how the Rode headphones compare. And I've got a pretty good idea of what these sound like because, as I say, I use them pretty much all day, every day. So let's dive in and see what's inside the box. So let's first of all take our sort of shiny, elusive black wrapper off. So here we have it, the Rode NTH-100s. You know, they look great. They look like what you'd expect from a pair of professional over-ear headphones, for sure. Inside the box, we've got a pair of headphones. We've got a nearly 2.5 meter cable. We've got a bag, a 3.5 to 1/4 inch adapter, and some colors in case you want to color code them. It's always a useful little thing. Rode have been really good in providing these little clips to go onto their accessories, which color code stuff, which is great in a studio environment if you've got multiple pairs of headphones, microphones, etc. We open the box, and here are our headphones contained within a bag. Now, the first thing I've noticed, which is different to the headphones that I'm used to using, is you've actually got a separate cable. This is really useful because, and one, it's easy to replace, let's say if it gets damaged, but also as well, I believe these headphones actually have got a connection on either side. So depending on if you're like left or right-handed, you can choose which side you want to plug the headphones in on. Now, here at the business end of things, the first thing I noticed is they carry quite a good weight. You don't want your headphones to be too heavy because obviously that's kind of just going to like weigh your head down. But you don't want them to be too light either. And we've, believe it or not, been through plenty of really plasticky, cheap headphones, you know, made some terrible mistakes in terms of what sort of headphones we've got. The other thing I noticed about these is they swivel, okay? Now, this is the thing that the other headphones I've used, like Beyerdynamics, don't tend to do. They're normally in a fixed position, whereas these have got a little bit of movement, so you can actually control the angle. They obviously kind of fit the contour of your head. And you'll see that on the inside of the headphones, you can see L and R, which makes it nice and clear so you know which side is which. And also, I guess this tilt needs to be set to a certain way. So as well as being able to move these from sort of side to side, they actually have quite a neat little design. You can adjust the height of these, which is quite common on most pairs of headphones. They actually have a locking system too. So if you unlock, it makes them really easy to sort of adjust, move up and down. And then when you lock it, sort of locks in place, which is pretty nifty. Again, stops them sort of sliding around on your head. Just like most other pairs of headphones, of course, you can kind of drag this up and down depending on how big your head is. My head's huge, so obviously I need to put this right down to the bottom. So what's my first impression? Do I think these are comfortable? Yeah, I mean, certainly it's different to what I'm used to. One of the curious things about these headphones, which I haven't mentioned yet, which I have now noticed straight away putting these on, is the spongy bit. You know, this is like normally filled with a, you know, I suppose a foam material or whatever. But these have actually got some kind of cooling gel, which is included. So basically, when you put these on, you kind of notice it straight away. You kind of feel like they're kind of almost quite soothing. It's like having a little massage around your ears in a weird way. And that's because of this kind of comfort gel, which is supposedly meant to keep you cool. And obviously it's great if you're wearing these for a prolonged period of times. Probably not so much important here in the UK, but these are developed in Australia, where I've heard it's quite hot a lot of the year round. So maybe they have factored that into the design of these headphones. And again, this is certainly not a feature that I've seen really on professional headphones. Maybe some consumer headphones have it, but it's certainly noticeable when you first put them on. And I think these feel really comfortable. I will say, you know, I think straight away they feel like they're sort of molding to the shape of my head, and I could see myself wearing these for a prolonged period of time quite happily. You know, if I was wearing these for a couple of hours for a podcast recording, or if I was doing a 4 or 6 hour radio show, wearing these most of that time, you know, taking them on and off, pretty happy. So now I guess the next thing to test is, how do these sound? What's my initial opinion of what these quality of sound is like? I might actually do a side-by-side comparison just so I can get a feel. Quite hard to demonstrate this on camera, because obviously you're going to just be relying on what I'm hearing and how I perceive sounds, and everyone perceives sound differently slightly, I believe. This is one of these things that's very, very hard to demonstrate on camera. But so I guess all I can really do is plug these in, listen to some music, listen to some podcasts, and give you my opinion on how these sound compared to a pair of headphones that I've been using for like the past 10, 15 years and are very, very widely adopted within industry, which I guess is what Rode are trying to compete with when they're launching these headphones. Okay, so now, as you can see, I've got my headphone cable connected. Chosen to connect it on the right-hand side, but you can also connect it on the left, as I mentioned. We're going to just be using my iPhone to play some music here. Let's head to Spotify. I'm just going to shuffle the first thing that comes up. Pretty good. Say these sound crystal clear, to be honest. I guess that's kind of to be expected. You'd expect them to be really, really clear. Good range, I think. You know, good highs, good bass. They just sound smooth, you know, which is what you want. You can certainly tell when you're using cheaper headphones that the range doesn't always sound as good. But, you know, that's all I can really relay without you trying these yourself. But yeah, let's try plugging in the DT-770s and see if I can tell much of a difference, and if I'm going to be surprised by how these sound versus these. So the first thing I notice when I compare them is these are a little bit quieter. So they're not as kind of vibrant, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's just because the volume on these is a little bit higher than these, but I've, you know, not adjusted anything. But I feel like to get the same clarity on these DT-770s versus the Rhodes, I need to turn it up by like 3 notches on my iPhone. Let's switch to some spoken word. Let's listen to a podcast and see how I think these compare with these. But in terms of the range and everything, and the audio color, I suppose is what you describe it as, I'd say both pairs are pretty similar. I can't really notice that much of a distinguishable difference. So I'm passionate about audio content creation and radio and podcasting, but I am not a studio engineer or an audio engineer. So am I the right person to kind of cast a critical ear over these two types of headphones? I don't know, but all I can say is I've been using these to edit and produce and create lots and lots of audio over the past 15 years, and these have been my go-to. And I think these pretty much stack up to what I'd expect to be a professional pair of headphones. They do sound good. Immediately, I think they're comparable to these, which have, as I say, industry heavyweights, which is what you'd expect from Rode. You know, if they've been developing these for a long time and if it's their first ever pair of headphones, you want them to be right. But I do think immediately these do feel incredibly comfortable, and I think the adjustments on them just make them that much perhaps more wearable than perhaps these. And I really like this kind of cooling gel as well, as I mentioned. So I guess the next thing to do is listen to spoken word and see if I can give you any useful information on how spoken word sounds through the Rode headphones versus the Beyerdynamic ones, just so we've got some kind of comparison. As I mentioned, really hard to tell because it is personal preference, and obviously if you want to get out there and try these, that's probably the best thing to do. So next up, I'm going to listen to a podcast, which is Meet the Podcasters, which we produce here at podcast.co. Recommend you subscribe if you want to learn all about what makes the difference between a good podcast and a not so good podcast. And we're going to listen to the latest episode, which is Molly McLaughlin podcast to help you sleep better. So I'm going to put the headphones on and hit play and give you my perception of how it sounds and how it sounds compared to what I'm used to hearing these things on. So one of the first things I noticed about these headphones, I obviously know where this podcast was recorded. It was recorded in our sound booth, right, which is right next to me here. And I know the characteristics of how this sounds because I've recorded a lot of content there myself, and obviously listen to a lot of content that our team have created in there as well. So I noticed straight away the characteristics of that, which are quite unique, and obviously it's going to be different to listening to a podcast recorded in somewhere else, but it's a very kind of silent environment. And straight away, that's one of the things I picked up on using these headphones, which I guess is a great sign because I guess it's showing that it's kind of giving me a lot of detail. Maybe if I was listening to that podcast on, say, my iPhone headphones, I probably wouldn't pick up on that necessarily straight away. I'm going to switch over now to these headphones and sort of see how it compares. So I think, but you know, obviously both these headphones sound excellent for music and for spoken word. It's quite hard to say which is better. I kind of like these because I'm used to them, but I also think these have great detail and clarity, and I'd be happy to edit audio with these. Would I be happy to sit there listening to audio on these Rode NTH-100s all day? Absolutely, of course I would. One of the things we've just noticed actually when we've been filming, Graham and Jacko behind the cameras are obviously talking to me, and when I was wearing these, I couldn't hear what they were saying as clearly. I was actually having to lift one ear up so that they could kind of give me some feedback on what we were talking about. Whereas we kind of noticed when I was wearing these, I could kind of hear what they were saying a bit clearly. So I guess the kind of natural noise cancelling capabilities maybe is better on this. So the difference between these two is these are over ear, e.g. they kind of have quite a large surface here which completely covers your ear, whereas these to be designed to be more on ear. So they're kind of designed to sit more snugly around your ear, and obviously maybe this just allows me to hear what's going on in my natural environment a little bit better, which can actually have its positives. You know, if you're recording a podcast and you've perhaps got a producer talking to you, or you've got guests with you, sometimes you don't want to be completely cut off from the outside world. Whereas if you're working in a studio environment, you kind of do. You want to be really absorbed in what you're doing. You know, as I mentioned earlier in this video, I am not a studio engineer. I'm really passionate about audio. I love listening to music. I love listening to podcasts and radio. However, I couldn't tell you technically what the difference between these two pairs of headphones is. So Rode, have they done a great job with these headphones? Yeah, I think these have got some great features. I think these are really comfortable to wear. I think the gel in this material feels fantastic. And, you know, I'd quite happily use these for any kind of professional work. So do they get my endorsement? Yes. The one thing I don't know about these at the time of recording this video is the price tag. I know what these cost, I don't know what these cost. So hopefully we'll be pleasantly surprised. But when we release this video is the kind of the day when these headphones are coming out. So we'll have to wait and see. So thanks for watching this video. Let me know in the comments if you've got a pair of Rode headphones, or maybe you're thinking about purchasing these and you're getting all excited about them. Or maybe you've got the good old trusty Beyerdynamic headphones and you're thinking about switching. Let me know in the comments. Tell me what you think. If you found this video useful, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe for more content like this. Bye for now. Hey, wait, before you go, perhaps you're looking to start a podcast for your business. And did you know that most businesses make the same exact mistakes? Whenever we work with clients who are struggling to get their podcast off the ground, or they're not getting the traction that they deserve, it turns out that most of the time they're making the same mistakes. So what I've done is I've compiled a guide which is called the 5-Step Business Podcast Checklist, which will show you exactly what you need to know to get your podcast up and running without making the same mistakes that most other people do. So you can download it for free at jamesm.com/podcast. That's jamesm.com/podcast. Go and grab your copy today.